flowers or animals or other things. This, of course, was done by one of Georgia's earliest botanists. You notice the dogwood petals in this thing? He couldn't write, so he just grew the dogwood, and he also went on here and collected not just Indian stuff, but historical. And if you wanted to share your pipe, the only thing you did is you just have a different reed if you were kind of fastidious. You find out the measurement, you can tell how old those clay pipes are. Barrelheads for about 2 months. And even though there were only, at that time, 5 or 6 colonies known to exist in the state, really in the world.
Don't raise his own fish? Is that what this is?
Just drill. How far down? Down the left. Look at the water involved.
These are about a year old. Damn, those are about me.
Now you don't fish in these. This is the same place where the fish is today. They come up a lot better from here when there's not so many people. There's 500 of them.
You think how they are sucking that stuff? They hard.
Look at you come back about 30 minutes.
Your kids at school like that, don't
I'm looking.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. 6.5 feet. That's good. Count this one. They can just dip. That's good. Alright, now you shake it out and get down to this. Big high rock right in the center of the fall. You can see over there the rocks that, I can see the picture of that had fallen in 65 years later. So in just 65 years, it may sound like a long time, but geologically, that's really good. An instant, geological time. The shrub that we took pictures of, this one right here, and that one growing out of the crack over there. That same rock, that same tree was there 65 years ago. Tiny shrub. As you can see, this kind of rock is pockmarked. It has induration, and if you look at it here on the surface, you see these brown concretions in it. Remember he talked about laterite? The laterite rock. And well, just behind you, right there, is a huge chunk of lateritic rock. Basically, the formation is a sandstone. It's laying down like 26, 28 million years ago. And after many years of compression, it's holding this stuff together. When iron rusts, it holds stuff together. You ever seen your husband or your brother, or maybe you've tried to... This rock here helps to hold it together. When we bring classes down here, we give them several rules. First of all, don't run. Bring a class, don't let them run. And I know elementary and middle school and even high school kids have a tendency to break loose just like a young kid and run. They cannot run because they'll get hurt just about every time. Don't run and don't put their hands or feet where you can't see. But I've never seen a rabbit. But that don't mean they're not here. They could be. So here we see the greatest exposure of rock. Why? Why do we see the greatest amount of rock? Huh? The water. The water. This is the area of greatest activity. This is the area of greatest energy change. And where you have an energy change, you have exposure. you have erosion washes away the soil, and 30 feet up the stream, you hardly see any. Just below the tree line right here, you don't see any. But it's just in this area where there's high sandstone. If any harder rock is washed downstream, what would the hard rock tend to do? Break up the soft rock. This is sandstone, very soft. Quartz is a very hard rock. So when quartz pebbles are washed down, and they hit a low place, you see those holes up in there? We call those potholes. When a quartz pebble hits in there and starts going around and around, it's just like a drill. And water has a tendency to form eddy currents. And when it forms an eddy, it carries what is in there with it. And if it happens to be a quartz pebble, the quartz pebble just drills out a hole in the soft rock. So that's what we get potholes. You can see them down in the face of these big rocks over here. There's one with a can in it down there. But certainly that aluminum can didn't drill that hole in there. A piece of quartz rock to drill that hole. That are washed down and keep drilling and wearing away sandstone. This is an excellent example of succession. Let's walk on down through here. Watch where you step. Remember, he used the zipper analogy. As we get further down the canyon, look how far it is.
It's beautiful down here. Mm-hmm. Watch out for that hole, see if it falls down here.
Xeric, X-E-R-I-C, X-E-R-I-C. That's pronounced xeric. It means a very dry habitat. And that's where we find that little orchid. That's where we're going to find those resurrection ferns. Here is the spike moss that he spoke of. Now it is embedded in some other mosses underneath, but it's the bluish looking finger-like hairy stuff on top there. Spike moss is typical of a xeric or a dry habitat, a dry community. Spike moss, long, it's big, and when it gets wet, of course, it rehydrates just like resurrection fern does, and it comes back to life again. Or it appears to. It appears to be dead, but really it's not. The crevices and the cracks in here. Look at this. These things zigzag back and forth across the rocks here. They're anywhere from 10 to 20 feet deep. How'd they get here? Water. This entire canyon is carved by water. The whole canyon was cut out by water. It just began to run and run and run, and over the thousands and thousands of years, it's gradually eaten all the way down, 15, 20 feet down. Eventually, that rock you're standing on over there will fall off in the canyon. Just like the one at the waterfall did. You saw it up there. It'll take maybe 10,000 or 50,000 years, but anyhow, someday it'll fall off into the canyon because of erosion. As you look deeper down in here, you see more green stuff because it is more moist down deeper near the bottom. If you look down, way down in there, remember the witch hazel tree? I showed you the one with the yellow flowers, the one that shoots its seeds 20 feet away? This is the witch hazel. It is used as an analgesic. Take the leaves, and they were used in early days as an analgesic for pain. If you'll notice, some of them appear to have little horns on them. But these are not really, not a normal structure for a leaf. Those are called a gall. I'm sure you've seen growths on many kinds of limbs and twigs and things. But these are called a gall, G-A-L-L. And what happened was some kind of insect came up here and stung that leaf on the bottom. See little holes in there? They stung the leaf on the bottom and laid an egg in it. The leaf responded to the sting by producing a large growth. Guess what the little egg is going to do? Hatch, turn to a larvae, and what will the larvae do? Eat the inside of the gall. And so, a very important concept you can teach kids, they bring these things into you and they lay them on their science table, they lay them on with the rocks and the shells. But explain to them what those things are. They grow in goldenrods, you know, in the stem. In goldenrods you get them little swellings, look like a ball right in the middle of the stem. Those are galls. Okay, notice the colors of lichen underneath here. And here we begin to see some of those laterite rocks incorporated into the sandstone in here. So, chunky pieces of the lateritic brown ironstone rock. You take that rock and put it on concrete, you're right. Laterite. Laterite, just like it sounds. Notice where the sweet gum tree over there is coming from. Solid rock. Solid rock. What's it doing to that rock? Breaking it apart. That is when trees grow under concrete or grow into your sewer pipes or grow out of rock. Many examples of that along. We'll go through here in a little while. Part of it comes out, part of it comes through here, and it goes on. Yeah, I was looking for some of those orchids to show you. Blue, white. Yeah. Up here on the tree, we see, step over this way, so you can see this resurrection fern. Resurrection fern springs again. And as its name implies, it will come back to life. And it gets its name, of course, from over there, get over here. And it only grows here, no other place. And it won't grow. If you take it home, put it in a dish, or plant it in the garden, or take it in the house, it'll live 6 months maybe, but it'll die. But it'll live here for 100 years.
What's the name of what kind of
Gee, man. On the rocks. That's the only one I've seen so far, too. Ladies, the significance of these lichens here, the organism can drop a spore or any other reproductive device and grow. Only lichens can grow on rocks, so therefore they are called pioneers. They're the only thing that can grow on rocks. You'll see them growing on buildings, on sea concrete, on poles, trees, on top of the soil, but only lichens can grow on solid rock. So what a lichen does, it secretes a little bit of acid, breaks down some of the rock, organic material that's left over. After a few hundred years, there's enough stuff there for this guy to move in. What's this? What's that?
Moss.
Moss. A moss can move in. And then a moss begins growing on top of what used to be a lichen. When a moss has been here for 40 or 50 or 100 years, guess what comes on top of them? What's here? What's this?
Fern.
There's a fern. That's that woolly lip fern that should only be found north of Macon. Hairy lip or woolly lip fern, here it is, all along here. So, with the pioneers, called the lichens, and then the mosses, come the larger vascular plants, ferns. Over here, what are these? What's that?
It's grass.
Grass. Okay, that's a stage. That's a stage of growth. And then after grasses, behind us we see little shrubs, and eventually trees. So we have primary succession. Primary succession occurs with lichens and mosses. Secondary succession is anything after that. Secondary is like hardwood. That's it. That's called climax succession. That's the end of it. That's all. So eventually, the hardwoods will replace the softwoods if they're left undisturbed. But like over in the swamp now, that never happens. Why? Why doesn't that happen in the swamp? They would. They would. But what happens about every 40, 50 years over there? Fire. Fire burns it all out and it all starts over again. Back with the water and the grasses and stuff like that.
Have they decided yet when they're gonna let it?
Yeah. They'll let it burn if it catches. If it catches on the inside. If it catches on the outside of the wood, moving into the swamp, they'll put it out. But anything that happens in the swamp, they'll let it go. Okay, let's go back across here. Water has run into there, washed it away, washed away the underlying support, and the rock just dropped down to the bottom. This stuff here. Reindeer,
Moss, yeah, moss.
That's poison oak right here.
Carol, did you hear? It's poison oak right there. Stay away from it.
Debbie, we're all supposed to stand now.
You got a bunch of old women. You don't have to slow down.
Carol, don't let y'all at the house.
That's poison oak too.
Mm-hmm.
Poison oak. Get on my back. No, get on my back. Can you get on my back?
George, come on.
Hold on. Real quick a minute. If you can help her, then I have
Let me.
Got it. You behind me?
Same rock. Lean over.
It's got a red bacteria.
This is the Ashburn sandstone. Talk about what the rocks are made of. Basically, it's Ashburn sandstone. You can reach up here and pull it off by hand. See, it just flakes away. Here it is.
What kind of sandstone did you call it?
Like Ashburn, Georgia. That's where it gets its name. Ashburn sandstone.
Uh-huh. Coming.
Get through there.
I don't blame you.
I can't take this. I'm telling you.
Comes down off of the wall, it goes back in here. And over in there is already a hole, a cave back in there. And there's a hole where so it's starting in there, washing out, and it's coming. So in a few hundred years, a few thousand years, this one will be like that one back there. There'll be another cave. Maybe this whole thing here will fall off one day too. Overhead here. And this is why when you bring classes here, don't let them walk out on the edge of these cliffs. Keep them back from the edge. Because this sand is soft. They may get out there and fall off and then the big rocks come down on them. We all got a problem there.
Yeah, I know it.
Don't have very many. What? So here comes Mama.
There you go.
Everything on this side of that ridge goes right down here to the front. So we're almost on the water here. You're at the top. And again, you see the crack crevice. The rocks are falling into the canyon down here. And that's the one he had a picture of, the one that ruts about 65 years ago. Up at the north end, we'll go right on up here and then we'll quit.
Do you suppose that was a gradual drop or?
And when you get to the one, you have to stop. How old are you now?
Has only recently, say in the last 15 or 20,000 years, has the rock itself been exposed. This little creek, as periodic as it is what has created that canyon down through there. And we only saw the beginning of it. When it goes on down there, it gets 300-400 yards wide and 60 and 80 feet deep. It's a tremendous canyon down there. And because of the children and where we are at the time, well, the kids, we didn't go, but just a little ways. When you bring a class, if I come with you, we'll go a long ways back in there. When they get back, they know they've been on a hike. Here we see good examples of potholes. What forms potholes? Quartz pebbles. And if you reach down in the bottom of these things, what do you find? A quartz pebble. And what makes the rock grind it up? Water. And how water flows over it. Look here at it. See them right here? Look at that here in the bottom. They're just full of rounded quartz pebble rocks. Now you're going to find some sandstone down in there because as the quartz grinds, it's going to grind off some of the plant material. But pothole formation is a pant all the way down through this creek. And it goes back out in that field out there. And right up there, about 100 yards, is they cut timber. And they clear-cutted right to the edge. So hopefully they won't destroy this in here. Hopefully they won't come in down here. Most of this is not salvable timber anyhow. And it's too hard to get the stuff in it.
What we're going to do is that's what I need to ask.
They know.
They're too little. They won't eat
Because there's clay immediately underneath that sand. Whenever you see pines that go 60, 80, 100, 120 feet high, you can bet there's clay underneath that soil somewhere. Not very far down either. What else?
Erosion takes place more rapidly where there was a change and weather? What could change the appearance of the caves and the cliffs? Erosion,
Water.
water.
Water made all those caves, made all these cliffs.
And then after the water.
Secondary and climax.
Okay.
Primary, secondary, and climax. What's tertiary? What's climax?
The hardwood.
Hardwood. Very good. Who are the pioneers? Lichen. Okay. You've been a good class. I look forward to working with you.